Hey, everybody. Oh, yeah, you like my thumbnail? You know, it's crazy. Hey, Sarge. I started sketching late last year. Actually, a pretty decent sketch. You guys want to see some? Hold on. This is totally random. Hold on. Okay, this is totally off topic. I started sketching last year. Totally random. Not too bad, huh? Thank you, Mark. Let's see. I did Pikachu. Oh, yeah. Look. That's not bad, huh? Look at that. Optimus. Let's see. I did. Let's see. Gyarados. Oh, yeah. That Iron Giant. That's not bad. I just kind of taught myself. Let's see. I did Stitch. I did a little bit of totally. See? Oh, yeah. And I did a Harley. That's not too bad. Anyway, I just kind of see the picture and my brain kind of works. It's good. My wife tells me to get my mind off of it. So sorry. It's not bad, huh? Thank you. I know. I just kind of like it. My brain works good. I see it and I can replicate it. Last night I was going to do the live. It was my 24-year anniversary. I know, crazy, huh? Absolutely crazy. So yeah. Tariffs. Yes, so my thumbnails, everybody keeps asking me about my thumbnails. I don't know how to share them. I'm still like new to the TikTok thing or the thumbnails. I actually like ChatGPT. I have a certain style. How do I fix my life? I can't help you with that, my friend. I don't have that many hours in a day. You tell me how to fix my life, and then I'll help you with yours. I can't attach it as a comment. So yeah, I hold on, I might have some more. Hold on. I think I have some in here. Hold on. Just because you guys are asking. While people are still coming in. Hold on. Oh yeah. Look at this. That's pretty good. Tomato. And then I did. Oh yeah, this one. See? I can kind of just see the picture. I don't know why, but and then look at Bumblebee. A little bit of. I haven't figured out color yet. I'm still on graphites. And then my favorite is Goku, Son Goku, when he was a little boy from Dragon Ball. Hey, Courtney. I don't know what else I have. Another house. Did Zero. Oh yeah, I did Zero, and then I did this one on vacation. I kind of like did his head a little too high, but that's not too bad. Winnie the Pooh. Anyway, that's enough of my art. Maybe I'll need a job one day when Antifa checks my emails. Why, Eric? Because people were, I don't know why. It just came up about drawing. My wife told me I got to do something that's not about fighting fascism, so I started to draw, and there we go. So, yes. Bumblebee takes out Jason Voorhees. Tariffs. Okay. So, for those of you that don't understand tariffs, it's a tax. The precursor to the Great Depression, in my opinion, was the Smoot-Hawley tariffs. One of the stupidest, dumbest things that we've ever done. And this dumbass in the White House thought it would be a great idea to do the same thing and tariff people. So a tariff means that when China, Japan, whoever it is sends it in, the person that receives it has to pay a percentage. So if it's $100 and it's a 40% tariff, they pay $140. $100 plus $40. That goes to the government. That's a tax. Your price goes up, my price goes up, everybody's price goes up. That's how it works. So what we have are dumbass farmers. And that's what they are. The vast majority of racist white farmers that want to own the libs because they don't like gay people and abortions. They're paying more for their goods because of the tariffs. Parts for their John Deere, parts for their trailers, their potash from Canada. All the prices are going up. Now, since May, they've sold no soybeans to China. Zero. Why? Because Argentina and Brazil saw the stupidity of the United States and they saw an opportunity. So their government actually has working brain cells and they cut all the red tape. Now China is buying all the soybean from South America. China loves it because they want to screw the US. They want to be the world power. That's exactly what's happening. So now the farmers are saying, oh, I didn't vote for this. Yeah, you did, dumbasses. You voted for racism and misogyny and felonies and assaults and little girls on Epstein Island. You voted for all of it. You just didn't care because you didn't want to vote for the black woman. So now the dumbass in the White House that wears makeup, oh, I was talking to somebody, many people, and they were walking around the office and they found all this money from tariffs. Oh, look, there's $20 billion in tariffs. It was just lying around under a Post-it note by the drinking fountain. I mean, this is how dumb these people are. They believe it. You don't just find $20 billion laying around. So now he wants to bail out the farmers. So the farmers that are paying more on their goods for their farm equipment, and they can't sell their soybeans because South America is buying them. Now he just wants to give them $15 billion and bail them out again. Yeah, they want socialism. After all the bitching and moaning, now they want socialism, free money. They shouldn't get anything. He took away the Department of Education. He took away USAID. Thousands of people are dying from the stuff that we used to help them with. It's just, it's so stupid that he's going to bail them out. Ben Shapiro interviewed Benjamin Netanyahu. Whatever. I've said what I said about Netanyahu. They should bury his ass under a prison and let him rot. And then he can find out from Jeffrey Epstein himself one day who's on the list. There's no reason to talk to Netanyahu. There's none. He's a war criminal. It's genocide, ethnic cleansing, whatever you want to call it. It's disgusting. And there's too many people in this country that are getting paid. Ben Shapiro? Ben Shapiro's a troll. Candace Owens is a troll. Theo Vaughn, they're trolls. They're not stupid people. They manipulate uneducated white people into thinking that somehow their version of American exceptionalism and patriotism is being taken away. You scare them and you scare them and you scare them. And you get January 6th. That's what they are. Ben Shapiro voted for a man who's an adjudicated rapist and a convicted felon who caused an insurrection. Ben Shapiro was not a good person either. He just has a very big mouth and is educated. That is it. Just like the racist podcaster that was a victim of a school shooting. A racist man. Right? The blacks are taking whites' jobs. The great white replacement theory. Saying that black people are stupid. Calling Kamala Harris Black Hillary. She's not black. Asking for the execution of Joe Biden. Joking about gay people being thrown out of buildings in Gaza. Oh, wait, there's no buildings. Yeah, he was a really great man of God. Yeah, such a great man of God, a great faith, such a peaceful, empathetic human being. Sure, they're all grifters. They're all grifters, and a lot of those are on the left too, and on the right, on both sides. They're all grifters to make money. Do I think Hulk Hogan and Chris Bonnier? I don't know. I mean, Hulk Hogan said some pretty racist stuff, but here's the thing. He didn't apologize when it was the right thing to do. He only apologized when people found out about it later. That's not an apology. That's how do I save myself? If that's the only time he got caught, just think of how many times he said those things privately before he got caught. That's who Hulk Hogan was. Oh, thank you, Keith. I have to do a little more research on George Wallace. I have very strong feelings about Andrew Jackson, though. I hope that he rots in hell right next to Jeffrey Epstein. What he did to the 5 tribes, the majority were Cherokee, was despicable. There was over 321 agreements that we signed as a country with the Native Americans to leave them alone, to let them live in peace. And he disregarded every single one of them. He even ignored the Supreme Court. And you had the Trail of Tears, where 16,000 people died. Think about this. The Native Americans were here. The white man comes here. First, we try to force them to Americanize, whatever the hell that means. That didn't work. So then we kicked them off their damn land. And he ignored the courts. And we had these people over, I think it was like a 5-year period, walk 1,200 miles to what is now known as Tennessee. Or Oklahoma. I'm sorry, Oklahoma. Think about that. Pregnant women, women with infants, people that are old, they can't walk very well, people in the middle, people that aren't sick. 16,000 died out of 100,000. 15% of the people died. That's Andrew Jackson's legacy. And then you had the horrible thing that Pete Hegseth, the guy that cheats on his wife, wanted to honor the people of Wounded Knee. If you guys don't know that story, I'll tell you really quick. 1890. Thank you, Russell. Hope to patch alliances with Europe, Canada, Mexico one day. I don't know, Sarge. We're a long ways away from fixing this country before we can repair alliances with other countries. I don't think they're going to use the, yeah. Wounded Knee there was about 350 Lakotas that had already surrendered because white people. They were doing something called I think it was called a ghost dance, where they dance around and basically want the white man to leave their land. I don't blame them. We shouldn't have been on their damn land. It was theirs. So what happened was, there was a guy, there was 4 cannons. This is after they had surrendered and they were leaving. This was like one of the nights where they were resting. 4 cannons around them. Think about this. You've already surrendered. You got primarily innocent women and children with cannons, just in case, after they've surrendered. One of the military comes up to a guy. His name was Black Buffalo, I think his name was, or Black Coyote. He was deaf. He couldn't hear. The guard came up to him and put his hands on him for reasons didn't need to do it. A rifle went off, and then this whole domino happened. And basically 350 Lakota, primarily unarmed women and children, were murdered. And they just buried them. They dug a hole and they buried them frozen, just left them there. And what happened was that the president at the time, I forgot what his name was, I'm sorry, said that they were heroes fighting for patriotism because they were saying bad things against America. And Pete Hegseth, the alcoholic who cheats on his wife, decided to give those 20 people, it was 20 people that had died, medals for a genocide. Once again, the white man honoring other white men that murdered non-white people. Seems very on brand. Just like white people. Yeah. That's just the history of this country. P. Diddy is a disgusting human being. He should be in there for life, what he did. It's just gross. Pam Bondi today is a white supremacist Christian nationalist. They're all going to stand before God one day and be judged. I get comfort in that. They will not avoid that. Mike Johnson. I used to be a Republican until 16. I wasn't like hardcore. And I left within a month. I voted for John McCain and I voted for Obama. I always voted for the best person. Think about where this party is. This party supported a adjudicated rapist and a felon that caused an insurrection, that cheats on his wife and stole from cancer charities, that went into teenage minors, girls' locker rooms and watched them get undressed. What a human piece of garbage. And that party of family values said, no, no, no. Oh, no, no one's perfect. And they voted for him. And now you have Mike Johnson putting the House in recess, prohibiting the Epstein files, where he knows that the president, the cosplay president, the plantation owner, did horrible things to little girls. I mean, think of how mentally and morally depraved you have to be. It's just disgusting. I need to set up a donation. There's so many people in this country that text, that email, that do donors and ask for money. I didn't start this for that. That's not why I do this. I do it because it's the right thing to do. I'm sick of people in this country getting treated like garbage, women losing their rights, people not getting a living wage, people living paycheck to paycheck and suffering. I personally that's not why I started this. If it turns into something else, then so be it. But I don't like that. I appreciate the comments. I do need to work on my oh, you want to see something cool? Hold on. So I've been working on something because I had an idea about something and I want to get your opinion. I don't know how to post things up here yet. I'm still learning that out. Look at this. Now I know this is backwards, but look. That's too bright, isn't it? So I kind of like this. It's the anti-politician. See that? I don't know what you guys think. There's that version. Hold on. And then there is this one that's a little more low key. It's selected one. I kind of like the first one. I think both political parties are failing the American people. But I have to find a web designer. So if anybody is a web designer or knows somebody, please email me. You like the second one? Okay. Yeah, I like the old microphone. Fan base we live. Well, thank you so much. I don't know if this country's ready for somebody like me to be president. I have thought about it a lot. I think that people are still wanting to stay in tribalism. I wish that wasn't the case. I feel like this country wants to stay. They feel like they have to stay within an abusive relationship. They keep saying I'm voting for the lesser of two evils. In every election, less and less people vote. And then you get the more evil one, which is what happened this time, in office. You had 90 million people not vote. By not voting, they put this in office because they don't think that the government works for them. And I don't blame them. It doesn't. But the reality is, you're still going to have people giving, corporations, to both political parties. And let's say, as an example, I like J.B. Pritzker. But you know what? He's a billionaire. I don't want billionaires in this country. I don't care if he's on my team, your team, or no team. If you're against billionaires, you can't support a guy running for president, if he does, which he probably will, just because he's wearing the blue team. You can't have it both ways. But how would I run against somebody like J.B. Pritzker that's a billionaire? How can I run with Citizens United when somebody like Elon Musk or Mark Zuckerberg can put in $200 or $300 million against somebody like me? See, that's fundamentally the problem with this system. Probably not Eli. I probably couldn't give you that, but I will look it up. If I don't know something, I'm going to say I don't know. I appreciate that, Madalena. The problem is this country likes to be entertained, which is why we have a clown in the White House. There's racism, white supremacy, misogyny. There's a lot of that. We have a lot of unserious people in there right now. Hello Kitty. Oh, yeah. You should see my wife's have. She had Hello Kitty Christmas trees everywhere. Pete and the Metals. I did not. 11th. I have to. Oh. The time there's been ever. Oh, you know what? You're right. Didn't Biden take the medals back, or somebody in Congress took it away? That's what it was. Yeah, Pete's a douchebag. Just so you guys know, let me tell you about Pete Hegseth, because I did some research on him. Pete Hegseth's been married 3 times. His first wife he cheated on because, praise Jesus. His second wife he cheated on her and had a baby outside of marriage with a Fox News anchor, his current wife, who he had, I believe, 3 more kids with. Multiple times he was falling asleep at meetings drunk. They had to pull him off a stage in a strip club in Louisiana because he was drunk. And in 2017 or 19, he had to pay $50,000 because he sexually assaulted a woman. And you have that douchebag serving with a convicted felon adjudicated rapist who cheats on his wives, who has done horrible things to little girls. Then you have the president that nominated Matt Gaetz, who had sex with minors, little girls. Then you have Wormbrains, who had so many affairs on his first wife that she took her own life. And literally dropped the dead bear in Central Park and used a chainsaw and put a dead whale head on his car. This is who's in our country. This is the best we have for America. This is what we have. Anybody that says that Donald is better than Kamala is just a white supremacist. Let's just be real. That's what this is about again and again and again. They didn't want to vote for the black woman because she intimidates them. The evangelicals are not Christians, they're Pharisees. There's nothing godly, Christ-like about them. Every 4 years, they ask themselves, are you better off? That's a very selfish question. What if I am better off? I was on a live today for a few minutes with a guy from Chicago. And what happened in Chicago was morally disgusting. Black Hawk helicopters went on a roof in a U.S. city, dropped ICE agents and other people off, went down, flashbangs, broke in doors, whether you were a citizen or an immigrant. They didn't care. They pulled people out of their beds that were naked, sleeping, not criminals, not doing anything bad, zip tying little kids. All their stuff was everywhere. And a lady was there, just couldn't imagine what was happening. She goes, what the hell is happening in my neighborhood? And she heard the ICE cops, or whatever the hell they are, these cosplay alpha males, say F the children. They zip tied 10-year-olds and some citizens and then released them hours later. This is where we are as a country. The brown shirts. And the guy on the live said, I don't care. Because it didn't happen to him. He didn't care. They're not going to care unless it affects them. I jumped on another live really quick just for giggles. Same thing. She's talking about law and order and how the ICE agents are being mistreated. And I said, I agree with you. All cops should be respected. What about the cops on January 6th? Wouldn't you agree that they should be held accountable for what they did to cops? Oh, we're not going to talk about January 6th that one day. Oh, I thought you wanted to talk about how police are being mistreated, but not that day? They don't want to have a conversation about that. They want to have their cake and eat it too. It's just hypocrisy. Do I think World War III is around the corner? I don't know. I don't know if it's going to be a cold civil war or some kind of French Revolution. What I would like to see happen but I don't think the Democrats have the backbone to do it. They should shut the country down as long as possible. I've been pushing for a general strike, and that's what should happen. Good. The pilots shouldn't go back to work. I hope the airlines shut down. I hope UPS shuts down. I hope teachers stop going to work, because this country is in trouble. And I'm afraid the Democrats are going to roll over like a bunch of cowards just because flights aren't going out, and they're going to give in. And any little power that they have, they're going to throw it away because a little bit of uncomfortableness from the voters. Let the country suffer. We have fascism in our country. He's going to declare martial law. He wants to invoke the Insurrection Act. We're going to have police officers arresting ICE agents in our country. That's the end of democracy. Destiny said that J.D. Vance tried to arrest him. I'm not a big fan of Destiny. I think him and Dean or Parker are a bunch of trolls. I do. I mean, look at what they do, right? The Un-F America tour. They go on stage with police escorts for their safety, they should, and they just yell at people. That's not a constructive conversation. It's yelling for the sake of yelling. It's grifting. It's all grifting. It's all outrage. So you get mad, you watch their videos, and they make money off of you being angry and pissed off. That's all it is. And every day, the same guys, I've seen them, they just argue and yell and call people dumb MAGA all day. They are dumb, but they're offering no solutions. I never hear them talk about racism and white supremacy. They just want to make them feel dumb. That's the same thing that the podcaster did, and Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro. They find people that aren't very bright, and they make them feel dumb because they're intellectually superior. That's all it is. Yeah, I'm not trying to dox certain creators. I'm just saying, I mean, where's my Martin Luther King? Look, there comes a time when silence is betrayal. When we look back, we're not going to remember the words of our enemies. We're going to remember the silence of our friends. And we have two systems right now on both sides, whether it's the media, the independent journalists, or the bros or broesses or whatever the hell they are. And they're all just making the other side angry so you like and share their videos. Kyle Kalinske. Is that the guy running back east with all the tattoos, drinking the coffee? Is that Kyle? I've seen him. Yeah, I like the way that he actually addressed that lady in the crowd about the illegal immigrants. They're undocumented. Nobody's illegal on stolen ground. They're not illegal people. And being here undocumented is not a felony. It is a misdemeanor. It is a civil offense, if I'm not mistaken. But that's how people should be talking, the way that he does. The Cleveland West Side Market was the oldest market in America. Now it's a goddamn food. Yuppies, I'm not sure. Yeah, I just don't watch those guys, those young kids just debating, because I just, there was a lot of drama with the NF America tour, and I just didn't find it helpful in any way, shape, or form. I just personally don't like it. That's just me. I wasn't going to ask you guys a question, though. Hold on. I'm going to think you have heard of it. Theos, they knew that. I don't really watch Piers Morgan, but it's the same reason I don't debate MAGA, okay? Piers Morgan is not a stupid guy. Piers Morgan wants people to go up there and yell at each other. He takes those clips, he puts them on his page, and people like them because they like to see people argue and shit on each other. What solutions has he proposed on his show? I mean, when's the last time that Piers Morgan went up there and said, hey, MAGA, cool. Why were you okay with January 6th? Why were you okay with a convicted felon? Why were you okay with the sexual assaults? Why were you fine with him abusing 13-year-old Katie Johnson, grabbing a woman by the PUSSY, cheating on his wives, tax fraud, asking for the execution of the Central Park Five. He doesn't talk about any of that. None of it. He wants to leave it in the past and just move on because he wants people to be outraged. Because he knows that dealing with the actual problems, hi Ashley, isn't sexy. Yeah, the Young Turks are pretty fair, I think, overall. I think I think when you start hearing people talk about both parties are the problem, you're on the right track. Yeah, it's a business model. It's outrage. Let me see what he said. Hold on. Let me look up what's his name? Brian Cohen. Brian Cohen, almost 5 million. Her simple answer is stunning. Trump's nightmare defies the Supreme Court. OMG. Trump issues insane update. I mean, these things like 3 hours ago, it's 131,000 views. I mean, this is what they do. Let's see. What's her name? Candace Owens. There she is. I think she still does videos on here. I don't know. I don't really watch her. Macron has a sugar daddy. Exclusive interview. From World War III to McDonald's. It's all the same crap. It's all outrage. It just makes you angry. Do I support what? Hey, Sarge, are you still a moderator on here? Sorry, that's a ridiculous question. Yes, I've had a podcast. It is incredible. What are they going to say in America? What I think is going to happen if we still have history books is they're going to ask why America didn't punish the Confederates that got their asses kicked in the Civil War. Why did America allow the daughters of the Confederacy to go out there and create this false narrative with nobody being punished or executed or put on trial or exiled from this country? Because that's what this is. This is the remnants of the lost cause, that we never truly dealt with it. And they went from their white hoods to a red hat. Reparations. Yes. I just don't know what that looks like. I actually thought about that a lot. I just don't have an answer. Because for decades after decade after decade, white people have always had a fresh start and started at a different starting point, and have always had the privilege, how they're treated, the jobs they've had, the pay they've had, housing being redlined, education where the houses are redlined, the incomes are lower, the houses are devalued, and they have less money for their schools when they grow up in different schools than the white kids. I just don't know if it's monetary. There was an instance, generational wealth and generational poverty. California did give some land back, but I don't know all the details about it. And if you look at what happened in Hurricane Katrina, one of the parishes, that was Mario, I deleted that person. That's a ridiculous question. They're not worth your time, but thank you. How we stole the land from Hawaii. Yeah. We took the land. That's all America's done. I mean, we stole slaves during the Middle Passage. We stole the land from the Native Americans. Then we got into war with Mexico and took that land. And then we took the land from Kamehameha. Then we bought Alaska from Russia. All white people have done is take. But that's their version of a Christian America. The Warren Court was a good timeline. I was going to start at some point. I don't know. I see a lot of people doing lives throughout the day, but I don't know if people at work, do they listen? I don't know if 7 o'clock's too late because people are doing stuff with their families. I was thinking about doing it during the day, but I don't know if that's a good time for people. So I was going to ask if you guys, if it's earlier, people listen at work. I just don't know. So basically what happened, yeah, I forgot my story. Yes. Hurricane Katrina. So what happened after Katrina was they rebuilt Katrina, but the housing prices doubled and tripled in some places. So these parishes that were primarily black It's called gentrification. So all those parishes that were black, because they weren't getting paid the same amount as the white person, they completely turned white. And that's how that happens. You use generational poverty to change certain demographics. If you look at certain parts in the South and you look at where the slave trade is and where black populations are today, it's not 100%, but it's pretty damn close because of generational poverty. Look at something like Cancer Alley. Pam Bondi took away the lawsuit that Joe Biden put in there to sue them because those people are getting cancer generation after generation after generation. If they were white people, I guarantee you that would be dealt with today. But they're black people, so hey, nothing we can do here. As long as you donate to our campaign, I don't care. Thank you, Daniel. Yes, that's yeah, I can't worry about Canada. Oh, Sarge, somebody said something that I support the KKK or something stupid, so I just got rid of them. It's not worth it. You should do a video saying why Joe Biden in America felt so much better. Yeah, Joe Biden wasn't perfect. He should have backed out. He should have been a one-term president, but I think he let his ego get to him. The fact that he gave Vice President Harris 103 days. Was that all his fault? No. But come on, you can't, 107 days, sorry. That's ridiculous. That is absolutely ridiculous, and I put that on Joe Biden. Now, the fact is people still voted for an adjudicated rapist and a convicted felon president, and they saw January 6th, so you can't put that all on Joe Biden. But he said he would be a one-term president, and he lied. That's on Joe Biden. Have I spoken up about Palestine? Yeah, I thought I've speak about that a lot. Well, thank you, Daniel. Israel has a right to defend themselves. That was 2 years ago. What Hamas did was awful. But you don't murder 64,000 innocent men, women, and children and say that you're defending themselves. You don't bomb a fucking hospital because there's one bad person in the basement and murder 50 kids and women giving birth in labor that are having surgery and say, oh, we're just defending ourselves. That's murder. Plain and simple. And the fact that we have not just federal, but state officials, senators going there, it's disgusting. It's absolutely gross. Why are they doing that? Because of AIPAC. The Demon Queens. There is a website. I don't know if I saved it. It actually has somebody have AIPAC funding. Hold on. There's a website called like AIPAC Tracker where you track all the money that they get in there. Here we go. Congress Hall of Shame. Like right here, Hakeem Jeffries. He's taken $1.6 million. Glenn Ivey, $2.9 million. Pete Aguilar, $867,000. Mike Johnson, $898,000. Let's see who else is on here. My congressman Swalwell's taken almost $200,000, just under. Valerie Foshi, $2.3 million. This is a big deal, people. This is why we're here. So AIPAC has millions of dollars, and they donate to political campaigns. What's his name? Adam Schiff has taken $6 million, and Padilla's taken $10 million. My senators have taken $16 million from these evil people. Do you think they're going to speak out against what's happening in Gaza? No. Why? Because they don't want to lose money for their political campaigns. They want to stay in power. So they're watching innocent men and women dying, watching almost 600,000 people starve to death, but they're getting this from Israel, so they don't give a damn. I mean, think about that. Both parties, both political parties. It's disgusting. The last count, I think it was 64,000 dead, about 18,000 missing. 16,000 of those dead were children. Children. How was that? How do you murder 16,000 children 2 years later and say, oh, we're just defending ourselves? How do you justify that? It's disgusting. And I put some of that on Joe Biden. He didn't speak out. They kept funding Israel. Joe Biden's complicit too. There's supposed to be almost 614,000 people that are starving by the end of September. And I think it was something I like that. It's absolutely disgusting that we're just letting this happen. It is absolutely deplorable because they're taking money. They're more worried about getting donations from Israel than speaking up against that people. All right, Sarge, see you later. I mean, it's disgusting. So they don't speak out against Israel. And then those senators, guess who they fund? Oh, we're going to give another $10 billion to Israel. We've given them, I think, almost $250 million since we started working with Israel over the course of decades. $250 billion to a foreign nation. Think about that. We give them contracts. Oh, we're going to build your Iron Dome here. Cool. We're going to create 10,000 jobs. And then we're going to ship it over to you. Oh, by the way, the stuff that we're sending you, you're going to use it to murder innocent men and women and children in Gaza. It comes all the way full circle. It's a profit center for murder. It is. It's disgusting. And I hope they all rot in hell for it. I don't care if you're Democrat or Republican. Yeah, he could have paid for our health care. I saw a video of a guy earlier that said, I don't like what the libtards stand for. What? I'm not even a Democrat. They're not perfect, but I know what they want. They want people to love who you want, marry who you want. Women have their own health care. Women have a 52% increased mortality rate after Roe versus Wade, which means women are dying from your pro-life bullshit bill. In blue states that have women's health care, it's going down 20%. That's a 72% swing. How many women have died because of this bullshit bill? I don't want kids to go to school hungry. I want people to have universal health care. I want you to have a living wage, affordable housing. Oh no, not the radical left agenda. That's radical. I mean, it's stupid. I don't want kids shot in schools. Oh no, that's radical. Like, it's so stupid. Yeah, if you go to Germany, go to Sweden, they pay a 35% tax. It's a lot. But you know what they don't have? A lot of poverty. They have free college, free health care. Now, do you have to wait? Maybe. But wouldn't you rather wait than have to go into debt for 20 years by paying off having birth? They have family medical leave, women's rights. They have a better quality of life. And what we've done in this country is traded a good quality of life for capitalism. Yeah, Sarge or Hellhound is from Sweden. You don't have homeless people there. They have a better quality of life. Who else should rot in hell? Well, Hitler, Benito Mussolini, Joseph Stalin. Stephen Miller's basically a Nazi. Y'all, I don't think people realize how dangerous that man is. He is a dangerous man. He would have served with Hitler if he was in Germany. I'm not even kidding. I don't know about Churchill. I got to do a little more research on him. If I don't know something, I don't pretend to know something. If I don't know it, I don't know it. We are the unhealthiest country in the world because what we do is, instead of charging people for fruits and vegetables at a reasonable price, we went into a lot of poor neighborhoods and put in fast food, and they live on that because we say it's more affordable, which has created this. And then you don't have people who don't have money. So then one of the things they do is they eat to make themselves feel better about their depression. And then you put weight on there. And then we fat shame people instead of actually getting them the help that they need. JM said, how do they sleep at night knowing people will and are suffering? There is a German word called Schadenfreude. It means that people enjoy the suffering of others. MAGA loves people that suffer. It's true. And those that have a lower self-esteem have a higher form of Schadenfreude. They used to use that's gross. Beef tallows. So that's a lot of the reason people are overweight. We make it too easy. We run ads for pizza, hamburgers, French fries, fast food, treats, candy. I mean, hell, look at this country, right? Look, how many people still smoke? I mean, we literally put on their Surgeon General's warning: you will get cancer and die from this, and we still smoke because it makes us feel good. The same reason we eat fast food and we're fat, because it makes us feel good. It's just true. That's why we drink. That's why we do drugs. That's why people have porn addictions, because it makes them feel good. And we have a lot of the Joe Rogans and the Theo Vaughns and a lot of the pros that watched the Racist Podcaster. We have an epidemic of really young men that feel insecure. They don't know what it's like to be a real man. They have toxic masculinity. They don't know how to have feelings. They're told that you're not a real man if you cry or hug somebody or have emotions or ask for help, that you're somehow a sissy man if you get counseling. So what happens is they bottle it up on the inside, right? It's like look at a pot of boiling water, right? The lid starts to shake, the steam comes out, and at some point the lid blows off. 98% of gun violence are men. The vast majority are white men, U.S. citizens, not trans, not gay, not bisexual, not drag queens, white men. Because they're angry and they don't know how to funnel that anger, because they're told if they ask for help or if they show emotions that they're some kind of sissy man. And it's sad. But that's what we're still doing. That's what the Joe Rogans do. And when people like Joe Rogan and the Racist Podcaster tell young men it's okay to ignore the 25 women that the president sexually assaulted, Jean Carroll, who he raped, the 13-year-old Katie Johnson, cheating on his wife, calling women ugly, bleeding out of their whatever, grab women by the PUSSY, you're saying don't care about the misogyny and the sexism. Don't believe women. And then in their brains, they don't respect women. They're told that women are there to make them babies and to serve them. They don't view women as equal. Oh, thank you, Christina. Yeah, somebody had mentioned something about friends. I unfriended a couple of friends and my sister. And I don't care if it's my mom or my dad anymore. If you're seeing what's going on and you're not going to speak up, you're part of the problem. Silence is complicity. You don't get to be neutral and see what's going on. If I see somebody drowning in a swimming pool and I just watch them, hey, there's nothing I can do. You're complicit in the drowning. You are. Nelson Mandela is a legend, yes. Do you think the end of Benjamin Netanyahu? For those that don't know how Benito Mussolini ended, it wasn't very good. I'll give you the 1-minute version. Benito Mussolini was the first fascist ruler of Italy. He got to power because he ran a paper called Del Papel di Italio from Tuesday to Sunday. Basically, Fox News propaganda 1.0. When he became the fascist ruler of Italy, him and Hitler and Joseph Stalin were very good buddies in whatever weird, sick, twisted, evil way. What happened was he spent so much time owning his enemies, going into Ethiopia was the main one he kept going after and trying to conquer the nations. He neglected his economy. that people ended up living off of 1,000 calories a day, buying food on the black market, and couldn't afford housing. They didn't care that he was murdering innocent people. They didn't care about that. They cared that their lives were negatively affected. So they took him out in the woodshed. Then they drug him out to the square. Not just him, but then they killed his mistress. And they hung him upside down for 3 fucking days. 3 days. And they stoned him. You know how pissed off you have to be to drag your former leader out there and stone him after he's been dead for 3 days? That's the reason that Hitler wanted his body burned. He didn't want people to see his body after he had died and be treated the way that Benito Mussolini did. So he's like, I ain't going to do that. Not having it. That's why they burned his body. Yeah, Mussolini was not a good guy. He ran with fear. And if I'm not mistaken, he enslaved about 130,000 of his own citizens. They didn't call it slavery, but he forced them to work for free. So I consider that slavery. Am I still talking about Jeffrey Epstein? Yes. The fact that the cosplay president, convicted felon, is that party is protecting a pedophile. Yeah, we're going to keep talking about that until it's released. You know, I was watching the news tonight for a few minutes before I jumped on here. There has been 1 or 2 women that were victims of Epstein Island, actually took their own lives, and now her brother and sister are speaking up on her behalf. I mean, think about that. The Republican Party, the white supremacist cult, is preventing the files from being released because they're protecting a fucking pedophile. That's where we are as a country. Hey, whatever, doesn't affect me. Oh, let's go to lunch. It's absolutely deplorable. Deplorable. It's disgusting. And look, when this plantation owner got elected, I have a family member that was a victim, and she was crying. How could 77 million people see this and say, no, that's cool? Because they only cared about themselves. And that's why they're not Christians. They didn't care about the life of the 1,000 girls that were molested on that island. They didn't care about the life of Amber Thurman or the 4 officers. 4 officers took their own lives because of the trauma by January 6th. Sitnik passed away the next day. They didn't care about the women that he assaulted, including Jean Carroll. They didn't give a damn about anybody's life except I want no tax on tips. Hey, I don't vote for the person. I vote for the policies. You vote for both. You don't vote for Hitler and say, yeah, what he did to the Jews was pretty bad, but you know what? I don't vote for the man. I vote for his policies. Yeah, I'd vote for Jeffrey Dahmer. Yeah, I don't agree with what he did, but you know what? I really like his plan on no tax on overtime. So I vote for the person because nobody's perfect. You did. You voted for it. You said it was okay. You said it wasn't a red line morally for them. That's exactly what you said. He's going to pardon a lot of horrible people, just like he pardoned the 1,500 officers on January 6th. Whatever that Republican Party is gone. There's no coming back from whatever the hell it was. It is the modern day Klan right now. That's what it is. Crap on anybody that's not white, demonize them, tear them down, pick on them, bully them. That's it. I don't know Chris Sununu that much. I'm sorry. Are you talking to your sister? I had 2 sisters. Oh, that one sister. No, I don't talk to her a lot. I had 3 sisters. One of them passed away in September. She had something happened, and that was unfortunate. So I have 2 sisters. My other sister, I don't really talk to her a lot anyway. We didn't grow up together. I didn't know about her until a couple years ago. But her husband follows Candace Owens and makes demeaning comments about trans people, and I want no part of that. It's disgusting. It's gross. They voted for a rapist president, but they're going to demonize trans people. We're not the same. I will not stand for people shitting on other people's rights. I won't do it. You could be right, Serge. Yeah, you know, Christina, I voted for McCain because of that. For those of you that don't do that, John McCain was at a meeting, and this lady, who would have been a MAGA today, I guarantee it, started calling Obama a Muslim and this and that and how bad he was. And he took the microphone away. And he says, ma'am, we're not going to do that here. I might disagree with, I think it was Senator at the time, he referred to him, Senator Obama. We both see the problem the same way. We have a different way of solving it. He's a good man. We're not going to do that here. That day, he got my vote because it was about decency. I wasn't a huge fan of Mitt Romney, but I would have been fine with him or Obama. I voted for Obama because I thought he did a damn good job the first term. But Romney he's a decent person. I don't agree with him on everything. I don't agree with my wife on everything. But those times they were decent people that actually cared. It had integrity and morality, not perfection. And too many people have just thrown morality out the window for, oh, I want tax on tips. Oh, I want no tax on overtime. I don't give a shit about anybody else as long as it doesn't affect me. I don't care. They don't care that women die from lack of health care. They don't give a shit that children are shot in schools. Thoughts and prayers. But a drag show rating, oh my God. Oh, it's ridiculous. How bad was your dad, your grandpa, and your great-grandpa? Oh, man. Eli, that is a long story, my friend. Pretty bad. I could tell you a story, but it's a little graphic. I'll tell you one story about my great-grandpa that I know. Just to give you guys some historical context. If you really want to know, it's a little dark, so if it's not for you, you can mute your computer for a minute. So I was told the story. This is how my dad grew up. When my grandpa wasn't behaving, him or one of his siblings, this was in Indiana, so they're a little different now. They're country folks, so I'm kind of like half redneck. When they misbehaved, he would put a collar on them and chain them to the porch, and they would have to sleep under the porch for like 2 or 3 days. And if they tried to come out from the porch, he would step on their fingers in the gravel. So if that gives you an idea of how they grew up, that's how they grew up. Yeah, it was pretty bad. There was a lot of other stuff I can't talk about here, but it was bad. That's probably one of the lighter things, the stories that I can tell you on here. Yeah, I mean, I didn't agree with Republicans and everything, and I've actually evolved. I was a Democrat until earlier this year. But the Democrats have no backbone. They're not willing to fight. They're playing politics. They're taking money. Both political parties, whether we like it or not, are two sides of the same coin. They're all taking money. And look, it doesn't matter. And I've said, I know it says in my last live. If a Democrat wins, the guy in the White House is going to say it's fake, it's rigged, and he's going to get his base all pissed off again. And then what? Citizens United still in there. Dark money, APAC money. There's no term limits. Women don't have rights. There's no gun reform. And we still don't have a living wage. Why does it matter if a Democrat takes over? You're driving the same crappy car with 3 flat tires. Yeah, Christina, Bernie Sanders should have been the nominee, but the establishment Democrats, in my opinion, this is in my opinion, they tried to push a woman president in over the right candidate. I really believe that. That's just my opinion. Bernie Sanders would have won 2016. I really believe that. How do we end wrongful convictions? I think it's a small percentage. I don't think the system itself is perfect. I would have to think about that one, buddy. I don't know. Yeah, Bernie would have won. I believe that most people are where Bernie are. I really do. I think the problem is because he votes with Democrats, he's viewed as a liberal, even though he's not. He's an independent. And I think for some reason, a lot of people don't see him as an independent. He said he did an interview a couple weeks ago. He went down to a red part of the area and he talked to them for like 30 minutes. And they're like, that's not what I heard about you. There's a lot of people that just lie because they want you to be scared. Our healthcare system is completely effed up. I mean, think about this. Our government is using our tax money so we don't have to pay as much for insurance. Just think about that. So they were saying, instead of paying this, we're going to use your tax money and bring it down to here so you can get affordable. How about you fix the damn healthcare system? And that's fundamentally the problem. But they won't. Because those companies give money to the senators and the congressmen. Why are they going to fix it? Because then they'll make less money, even though it makes your life and my life better. We're not living in poverty just for wanting to live. But they're not going to get the donation, so they're not going to fix it. I do not believe that the Constitution has anything about healthcare. And the reality is that the MAGA base doesn't care about anything in the Constitution except for the Second Amendment. They don't care about the Three-Fifths Clause. They don't care about freedom of speech. They don't care about due process. As long as they have the Second Amendment, they really don't care about any of it. They will justify ignoring all of it as long as their agenda gets pushed. Oh, well, it's not mine. Oh, I drew that, actually. Yeah, speaking of which, I drew this for my wife. Yeah. We have quite the Hello Kitty collection here. And a Hello Kitty tissue box, because why not? They only care about owning the libs. They could be eating garbage on the side of a street, and they want to blame somebody for their shitty life, and they want to blame everybody except for themselves. The Second Amendment, and I need to do more research on this, and somebody can correct me if I am out of line here, because I want to make sure I'm speaking the facts. The Second Amendment could be argued that it was written for the state of Virginia because the militia wanted to be formed so that black people wouldn't have their freedoms. They wanted to prevent a rebellion. It was never really about a tyrannical government, because if it was about a tyrannical government, we would see people with Second Amendment flags standing up against the government. So it's not really about that. They only use it when it goes against the person that they don't like. Oh, PTL? Oh, yeah, Brian? Okay. Yeah, I lost my job, but I own the libs, right? Who cares if I'm eating garbage or lost my job? At least I own libs. But see, this is what Republicans have done in red states. They're socialist states. They take more from the government, and the blue states put money in there. So they elect Republicans. Republicans give tax breaks to corporations and billionaires, right? Because trickle-down economics works so great. They give money back to the politicians. The politicians do nothing to make their lives better. They fight culture wars, and they make their base angry. And they say, Bobby, it's not your fault you live in a trailer that you dated and married your cousin. It's not your fault, Bobby, that you have a shitty life. Blame the libs. The libs are your fault for everything in the world. The libs, the libs, the libs. And then they vote for the libs, and their lives are still shitty again and again and again and again. And that's what this cosplay president did. It's not your fault. Blame the immigrants. Blame the brown people. Blame the Latinos. Blame the Muslims. Blame George Soros. Literally blame everybody except for the convicted felon with 6 bankruptcies and 3 failed marriages. Not my fault. Nope. It's everybody else. And you do that for generation, and you create an uneducated base of voters and you watch something like a Fox News, like Greg, what's his name, Gunfeld or something. He's an ass. He's a total asshat. It's like a circus. He's literally on there joking about a teacher having sex with a 16-year-old student. He thinks it's funny. I'm not kidding. It's disgusting. One musket. Yeah. Muskets were written. Well, sorry. Muskets were around when the Second Amendment was written. It took a minute to reload. We have AR-15s. We have scopes. We have silencers. Handguns. It was never meant for this reason. It's just ridiculous. Like, we literally have 40 to 47,000 people die from gun violence every year. There's nothing we can do. Absolutely nothing. But a racist podcaster is the victim in a school shooting, and all of a sudden, Air Force Two, the vice president who's a white supremacist, we're going to have a whole day. Literally, Mike Johnson, if you guys don't know this, guess what day Mike Johnson is bringing the House back? October 13th is the last day that they're in recess. Huh. I wonder what happens on October 14th. Oh, yes. The Day of Remembrance for the Racist Podcaster. That's right. So they'll protect the pedophile by not releasing the Epstein files. They won't swear in the congressman to release the Epstein files, but they'll come back to honor a white racist. If that's not the most American thing, I don't know what isn't. Hey, I was going to ask you guys really quick. I'm going to leave it a little bit here, but do you guys, I know this is kind of late. I just realized some people on the East Coast. I'm going to start doing these more often throughout the week because TikTok is kind of not really helpful. Would you guys listen to this like during the daytime? Because I'm thinking about doing like a podcast kind of style. I had a lot of people ask me about that. Yeah, my birthday is next Tuesday, so I will not be doing a live. I will be having pizza. Woohoo! Yes, Madalena, no other country has the gun violence because we're a bunch of damn idiots. This country values their freedom over the lives of their fellow Americans. And it's disgusting. But it's what we are as a country. Don't tread on me, but they don't care if you tread on anybody else. Screw them, right? Who cares about them? I had a... where was that picture? I have a... Let me see if I can find it. Hold on. Say, don't tread on... Where is it? Pizza. I was just at Disneyland, actually. I was there for my wife's birthday. Oh, here it is. I was going to show you guys. It's my thumbnail. Sometimes I create the thumbnails. So this is what's interesting about thumbnails, in case you're curious. The thumbnails, I wouldn't say they're hard to create, but it tells a story. It's kind of weird. And if you don't get the thumbnail right, I realize it doesn't matter how good your video is if people don't look at it. It's a weird thing. I'm still trying to figure it out. Where is it? I have it somewhere. I'll post it in a couple of days when oh, here it is. Oh, yeah. See? Isn't that sad? It's true, but it's sad. Which California city has the best Mexican food? I don't know. The Republicans will not denounce it. They won't. They're going to do nothing. They're hoping that he does something where they have to remove him from office. That's all it is. So, yeah, I don't know what time. I guess, do you guys, I want to start doing, I guess, this show, maybe have some, I don't know, like topics. This is something brand new. This is all new to me. But I don't know if people listen during the day. I've seen a lot of people live, but I don't know. 7 o'clock's a little late. People are spending time with their families. Does it make sense to do it during the day? I don't know. I work out at 1, 12. Yeah, I don't know. Do people listen to this stuff at work? For me, it's 5 a.m. Yeah, I don't like doing it this late because a lot of people on the East Coast are not, they're going to bed and stuff. So, well, thank you, Electra. I don't know. I thought about maybe doing it like in the afternoon or like maybe late morning, like 11 a.m. I just don't know um, if do you guys listen to that kind of stuff at work? I just don't know. Chris Cuomo will not drop out because he is a ego-driven egomaniac, and he's trying to get in good graces with the dumbass in the White House. Yeah, Andrew Cuomo is. You know what disappointed me about Andrew Cuomo? 400,000 Democratic voters still cast their vote for him after he had to resign from sexually harassing 11 women. Think about that. It's disgusting. Yeah, Triple H is the typical machismo, wannabe alpha male. It's that male loneliness epidemic. When you look at them at the rallies, oh, well, thank you, Rachel. I appreciate that. They don't know how to be real It's not healthy masculinity. Look at Dana White. That guy hit his wife. He said he doesn't know what toxic masculinity is. His entire business is toxic masculinity. Guys going around punching each other, yelling at each other, demeaning each other. And next year in June, I think they're going to have think about this. They're going to have a UFC fight on the grounds of the White House, on our house, a private event. I mean, it's disgusting. They're doing the weigh-ins at the Lincoln fucking Memorial. It's disgusting. On our house. But Dana White's totally fine. Dana White has no problem being buddies with a guy who rapes a woman or molests little girls in Epstein Island. Or told by the PUSSY or cheating on his wife or bleeding out of or whatever, or making fun of disabled people. Dana White has no problem with that because he just wants to be an alpha male. But to a lot of young men that are impressionable and ignorant, that's their version of masculinity, which is why we have 98% of gun violence, young men, because of that mentality. Everything is violence. Of course he's MAGA. He's the typical, stereotypical, toxic masculinity. Of course he is. He doesn't care about women. He doesn't care about them at all. Any man that ever puts his hand on a woman for any reason is just a piece of shit. You don't do it once. He got caught once. Trust me, I know. My dad was one of those guys. You don't just do it once. My grandpa was one of those guys. You don't do it once. Just like Hulk Hogan. He wasn't racist once. He got caught once. It's not the same thing. Berkeley has good food. You know, I don't really go to Berkeley. It's a cool area. Listen, California is not a perfect state, but you know what? It's a great state. Don't listen to people. We're the fourth or third largest economy in the world. 11, think about that. Out of 330 million people, 40 million people live here. We have Disneyland, Six Flags, Great America. I go fly fishing. People go skiing. They go in the ocean. We got San Diego. We got a desert. We got multiple national parks. Sounds like a real shithole dystopian hellscape, doesn't it? They just don't like it in the red state because they need to be miserable. And they can't handle the fact that people are successful and they're not. That's why they don't like celebrities, because they have something that they want. And instead of picking themselves up by the bootstraps and working for it, they would rather bitch and complain and be the victim of it. It's not fair. It's not fair. Am I in the Bay? I was actually born in Hayward. I grew up off of A Street back in the day. Oh yeah, Simi Valley's cool. That's down south. My my wife, when I first met her, lived down in Seal Beach back in the day. Way back in the day. Yes, they want people to suffer like that. They don't want people's lives to be better. They feel entitled. And it goes back to what I talk about. It is white people that want to maintain the patriarchy, and they feel that the color of their skin should allow them to be at the top of the food chain in work, in making money, quality of life, housing, everything. They feel like they should be entitled. And anybody that doesn't look like what they think an American should look like is an American. And that's disgusting. But that's who they are. That's his base. I will try Guyana's food. Ooh, I love Monterey Bay. That's a good area. We go to... I haven't been there in a while. There's a Thomas Kincaid gallery there. Hawaii is a good state too, yes. All right, my friends. I'm going to probably try a couple during the day to see if it's any better. So keep an eye on. I got to figure out what time it's going to be good. I might do it at 11. I might do it at 12. I don't know. So we'll see if people check in. I'm going to do it on a regular basis, though. And at some point I will, I don't know, if I want to do a podcast. I don't know what that looks like. I don't even know what's involved in something like that. Zelensky is a fucking hero. He is. I like that he doesn't wear a suit. Screw that guy in the White House. Unlike that coward, Bone Spurs, that cheats on his wife, that man is standing up and fighting a bully, and he's held him off for years. He loves his country. He's fighting for his people. He doesn't need to wear a goddamn suit. His people are dying. What do you think is more relatable? Him wearing a suit in the White House with a convicted felon rapist, or wearing a shirt that shows that I'm fighting for and standing here for my country? That's why I'm here. That's what a real leader is. Our guy is an egomaniac that has low self-esteem, that doesn't even love himself or his family or his kids. And I cannot believe that we're siding with Vladimir Putin. It's absolutely disgusting. John McCain would be absolutely disgusted and mortified that we have a convicted felon rolling out the red carpet, having military on their knees, putting nails in the ground, for a man who is literally murdering Ukrainians, our allies. And the thing, if you guys don't know, there was something called the Budapest Memorandum. In the late 80s, we signed a deal with, it was Ukraine, the hell were the other countries? And a couple of Baltic states, that if they gave up their nuclear weapons, this was during the end of the Cold War, that we would defend them in the absence of nuclear weapons against their enemies, against places like the Soviet Union. And now we're siding with them. We broke our word. We have an agreement, and we just threw it out the window to side with the murderous dictator, Vladimir Putin. It's disgusting. Yeah, Nixon wasn't a good guy. But you know what? The Republicans had some decency at the time. After Watergate, they all went down there and told him, you better resign. That's the Republican Party that I was a part of. They weren't perfect, but they were decent. They knew what the right thing was, and they did it. Now they're all just rolling over because they're worried about their political career, or they're scared of a mean tweet. So they're fine. See you, Madalena. But they're fine with us getting screwed, with our rights being taken away, with ICE coming down the chimney like Santa Claus and flashbanging and grabbing people out of bed that are naked and 10-year-olds. That's a long story, Eli. Watergate is a movie with Dustin Hoffman was in it, and Robert Redford. Probably watching the movie's the best way to. It's very complicated, but it's a good story. Written down said, "This isn't the America I was born into." I actually think it was. This country has always been racist. We've done a very good job at hiding it. A very good job at hiding it. We've suppressed it since the Civil War. And I know a lot of people thought that we made progress. I don't think we did. We pushed it behind the dam like water. And then this clan leader came in there and opened up the floodgates. And now we're seeing who's really in this country, where that 77 million people came from. And I believe that the victim of the school shooting, the racist podcaster, they all scurried out like a bunch of cockroaches. They didn't say a damn thing about this guy being elected, about January 6th, about Melissa Hortman, about George Floyd, about Ahmaud Arbery. Not a goddamn thing about any of that. None of the school shootings. But they scurried out like cockroaches for a racist podcaster that said the death of Americans is worth the cost of the Second Amendment. That they'll defend. They'll pile on. And I blocked them. I don't want to hear it. You are not Christians. Because once the baby's born, you don't care if it dies from lack of food, lack of health care. You don't care if it's shot in a school or a movie theater. And you sure as don't care if it has affordable housing or a living wage or clean water or clean air. They're forced birth because they want white babies. It's about control. That is it. Mario, Donald is not the problem with this country. He is a symptom of white supremacy. He is an idiot. He's a moron. He is. He's an idiot. But he says this, he says, be a racist in the open, own the libs, hate the same people I do. He's a black light. When you go in a hotel, those stains are on the sheets. But you don't see them without the black light. That's what Donald is. He is a black light on this country. And the one good thing, and God knows there's not a lot, of Vice President Harris losing is that we can finally deal with the original sin of this country, which is racism, white supremacy. That is the original design of this country and who it's benefited. And Stephen Miller is the head of that. I would even argue he's a Nazi, but that's a different video. He is a horrible human being. He had a friend in high school that was one of his best friends, and it was middle school, I think it was. And he found out he was Latino, and he stopped talking to him. Stephen Miller wants 100 million Americans white. I don't know what Stephen Miller is, but it's like you stepped on some dog crap, and you went, oh, look, let's make this into a human being. Let's see what it looks like. Oh, look, we'll call it Stephen Miller. That's about what Stephen Miller's worth. There's just some people that are just not good people, and he is one of them. There are some people in this country that are MAGA that are just not very bright, that have been misled. They're not bad people. They're just not very bright. Stephen Miller is not a good person. He's just not. He doesn't like anyone that's not white. There's no saving somebody like him. I didn't mean to insult dog poop, sorry. All right, my friends. I'm going to try maybe a day show, and I'll keep an eye out. I'll figure it out either later today or first thing in the morning. I'm going to see if people listen. I don't know. I might do it at the same time as PTL. I don't know yet. I might. I want to try different times. Maybe I'll do it at 11. I don't know. But I figured during the day I'll try it out because I think a lot of people are in bed at this time of night. So, all right, my friends. Bye-bye. Let's see. End stream.